What's up, everyone? Welcome to Narwhals, episode 34. My name's Drew Wilson,
Kieran Flanagan.
and this is Eric Bai.
Yo. Thanks for having me. Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show, Eric. Welcome to the
How do you
show.
pronounce your name?
Eric.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Eric.
I like it.
Bye.
Easy to remember.
Rick. Yeah.
Yes. Got the R in there. So, what do you do?
I am a developer. I make things. Also gotten into woodworking lately and cooking and
Remodeling?
remodeling, a whole bunch of stuff.
Just did a big project, your house.
It did. Took a long time, but we're very happy with the results.
Did you do any of the woodworking on the house?
Replacing some baseboards, and I just made like a little office utility holder thing that holds pens and paper. Yeah,
should
so
sell
like
that.
big stuff, real
You
important.
should put that up on Ugmonk.
Do you put it on?
Is that what his thing- is that what his new
you
thing
mind
is?
if I post my pictures on your website?
I saw
custom
yours
made.
went really well. I've got one too.
Do you follow Adam Savage at all?
Sure, yeah. The
Mythbusters. Mythbusters.
Yeah, Mythbusters.
But I mean, do you
Mythbusters.
follow him?
He does like the 24-hour builds, the day builds. I've
Yeah.
been watching that stuff. Sure.
Okay, cool.
Apparently
Sure.
he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't
He
quite
knew-
tell
he knew
what
what
your
you-
answer if you follow him and like actually follow him, or if you mean
Yeah.
like I know of him and
Yeah.
I check in.
I've seen
No,
some
I walk
myths
closely
busted.
behind him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, but
I don't know what this is though. What's the?
okay. So Adam Savage from Mythbusters,
Yeah.
super radical guy, big into Comic-Con stuff, big into woodworking,
Costume design. Yeah.
yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds of
prosthetics,
stuff.
all that jazz. He's super crazy because he was at
That's
ILM.
what he did originally.
Yeah, he was at ILM back in the day. Worked on the Star Wars movies, the newer
Special
ones.
effects stuff,
special
yeah.
effects dude. And then now he's got his shop, and he's always constantly like improving his shop, like improving like the efficiency,
Building things,
like
yeah.
Casey Neistat on steroids, like way more in depth. And they always do these builds, and he's always like he just did a Nerf gun where he took a Nerf gun and like
Yeah.
weathered it to make like a real prop gun. It
Yeah.
looks super cool.
Yeah.
But he's doing that stuff all the time. That guy never stops.
I'm practically the same. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are him.
No, but I do find during my downtime that I just like to try and make something that will improve my life in some way, whether it's
kind
small
of
or big. Or,
and it's kind of weird how you get some satisfaction, at least if
Totally.
you spend all your time working on a computer, that anytime you actually do something physical and not just exercise or go for a run, but actually like
build a thing.
build something that you have a physical product at the end, like it's strangely rewarding, even if it's like
Crap.
It sounds stupid, yeah, but
Yeah.
even just yard work sometimes, like I'll come in after like reshaping a hedge or something and be like, that was strangely satisfying. Like
Sure, because in software you can work like all day on a problem and maybe work through it and get it done, but it doesn't have that same satisfaction. of Like I built this thing that I can hold.
yeah, especially
tangible.
when you're done, you have to explain what you did.
Yeah.
Like it's not you solved a giant bug and it's not even evident. The thing just works now.
Check out this sublime text file.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Look at all the colors.
I promise, I
Wow.
minified
Wow.
the heck out of this.
No, that's awesome. I guess maybe slightly unlike you guys.
You don't dig it.
I mean, I do like doing stuff with my hands. Don't get me wrong whatsoever. But like, probably the biggest project that I've done for myself personally was like remodel a house that I bought a long time ago, and I was so sick of it.
Yeah.
I was
Sure. It can
I
get
was like,
overwhelming
yeah.
at times, especially if you have to, if it's like something you're required to do. But when it's optional, kind of
Yeah.
do it at your own pace. then
Yeah.
I can do it until I get bored of it and then forget about it for a couple months. and
When I
come back
was
to it.
the most woodworking I've done. Oh, I used to work in construction for a couple of years, but other than
too.
that, the most woodworking that I've done was when I was a kid. I was like a crafty kid, right? So then, and by that I don't mean sneaky. I mean I was into crafting.
like
Crafting
quilting?
kid.
Yeah. So I would sew and I would make beads and I would sell them.
Scrapbook.
I didn't do scrapbooking.
Could have.
I could have, but I did like a lot of art too, a lot of art. And one of the things I did was wood burning. So you take a plank of wood and you like burn it like with a pencil, except different depths that you burn things in.
Sure. That's cool. And it smells good.
Yeah, it does. It smells delicious.
Yeah.
Except when I was a kid, I think my parents just bought the woodworking or the wood burning kits, and they come with like the
Stencils and everything?
no,
or
they
what?
come with the pieces of wood that are like
They don't smell good.
they don't smell good.
Yeah.
They're like manufactured pieces of wood. It's not like this
The bad
piece
smelling
of
wood? Yeah.
piece of pine.
Yeah.
It smells super good. Or
Hickory.
something.
Yeah. Mesquite.
Hickory. Where's my bacon flavor? No, that's good. Super related to this
Okay.
topic is your first glass of kombucha that you
Kombucha.
have. Why don't you hold that up and show everybody? Look at that. He's got
never
a
had
little bit of
kombucha?
strawberry serenity GTs.
Do you know what that is?
It's probiotics.
You know where that comes from?
Probiotics. It's like
Have
tea.
you seen the organism that produces that?
No. It's little, right? Those little guys.
No.
Oh, no.
It's called a SCOBY.
It's got a SCOBY and it's weird.
If you were a giant Hinox from Zelda, do you play it?
No.
Dang it. Okay, so
I want to, yeah.
so like a big troll. If you were to Hakalugi,
Oh.
that's what a SCOBY would be.
If he were to
Right.
Hakalugi. Yeah, and if it were alive. You know, you'll get like bottles of vinegar or like apple cider vinegar or whatever, and it says on the bottom, like, from the mother. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever
No,
noticed that?
actually, I haven't
That's
read too many
the mother.
bottles of vinegar.
The SCOBY is the mother.
If you stare at it long enough, it will say words to you.
It's very weird.
It's really
Very
not
weird.
that gross,
Yeah,
honestly.
it doesn't bother me.
It's not
I
that-
eat yogurt
it's not
and
that
bread
gross.
and
It's just-
things. Yeah, different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Takes
and
a little,
scary to you.
I mean, I have not too many nightmares, but like occasionally a really vivid nightmare that sticks with
Tastes
me. Yes.
good. Tastes like strawberries.
Yeah.
Strawberry soda.
Yeah, it does.
That's
that
added.
one. That one.
Oh.
So
Back to what you do.
back to what you do.
Wait. Oh, okay.
What are you working on these days?
So I just finished some freelance work. I did a contract for my first game development contract. So I've been learning Unity over the years. And Kieran introduced me to this guy through friends of a friend.
Yep.
To build a surf simulator game where these dynamic waves are generated and you surf it and get points for how deep in the barrel you are or your positioning on the waves. So that took me about 6 months, and we recently wrapped up, and we're looking to start another contract to kind of get it into the App Store. Most of the foundation's built and put in place, but there's still a lot of content that's got to be added on his end
For the surf game?
for the surf game.
It's
Yeah.
pretty rad. The gifts that you posted, especially like
Yeah.
as it's progressed.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember
There's
that.
a lot
That
of
was
challenges.
6 months ago when you started?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
time flies.
I mean, it's all weekend work, right? And like
Yeah.
downtime. So, but yeah, we've come a long way. And my understanding of what he wanted and his understanding of what he wanted kind of evolved over the time. And so we got to a spot at the end where we're both happy, where we both got to the product that he was looking for.
That's a good secondary question, right? Is that this was kind of your first
Freelance.
freelance, like
Someone
having a
paying
client.
me. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So it was an
Like
educational
getting
experience.
the contract and listing out everything up front and agreeing to a payment schedule, all that stuff.
Then like disagreeing about certain
Right.
ideas and
Right.
pushing back.
What was that like for you coming from? Because before you were a corporate man, you were at
Sure,
24-hour fitness, doing their web stuff.
So it's a lot different, especially all the stuff that I build myself. Like I envision a product and then I'll work towards that vision. Well, now someone else is handing the vision to you. And it's a little different as well because, in a corporate environment, there's all these processes in place to like record all the requirements and make sure it's tested in every which way with QA. And this was just like one dude telling me, I would like this wave to crash here and look like this. And so
Yeah.
just like understanding what he was saying, processing it into requirements and then fulfilling, like getting his sign off on those requirements and then fulfilling those requirements.
So you took your experience in the corporate world and the processes therein,
Sure.
and applied those to freelance.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just breaking down the big picture into much, much smaller tasks, which I do for my projects as well. But
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you and I have built some stuff together.
Yeah.
We made Kid Cam, like photo camera for kids.
I still have a pillow. I still have a
Yeah.
Kid Cam
Oh,
pillow.
yeah. My mom sewed a whole
and
bunch
your
of
mom made
pillows.
pillows. That's amazing. And then bulk delete. Back when you couldn't bulk delete photos from your camera
That's right.
on the iPhone, and then Apple added it.
You're welcome, Apple.
Yeah, you're welcome. But so how was the process like similar or different to that? Like, cause you built those, but then you also have your whole Ellie's games, which we'll get into in a minute, but
Sure.
how's the process like freelance different from, or the same as?
Well, it was very similar. You have a better vision. Like you've done a lot of software development, so you knew, and you had the vision, right? And so you could break it down and say, I want this screen to do this and this and this. Whereas the other guy that I was working with, he more just knew what he wanted, but he didn't know how to get there, how to get to that end product.
And he's an artist. He's
Yeah.
a filmmaker, right?
Videographer, right.
And
Is it Tom DeLonge?
Documentarian.
you know how things work. Yeah.
Ben Weiland is his name. He's a very
some
fascinating
rad
dude.
stuff.
Yeah, he's very talented, extremely talented.
Yeah, look them up. But like exactly what the technical limitations are and what this screen leads to
Right.
this screen, and then you can go back to this screen or whatever. But I would imagine, based on the conversations we've had, he can say, "I feel like it should be doing this," and you're like, "That's not how
Right,
like
right.
physics work. Like I can't build that into you. I'd have to do this custom
Sure.
shader or whatever in Unity to even make that look the way you think.
And it's again, when someone else is giving you the vision, you can offer your advice, you can make recommendations, but ultimately it's their vision. So I felt like we should have taken some other creative turns in it, and he felt otherwise. So he's the vision guy. So I got to build. Yeah, exactly. He's paying me. So I did that to a certain degree, but at a certain point, I was just like, I'm just going to build it how you want it,
right,
as opposed to how I think it should be built.
Yeah,
that's a big difference from building my own stuff versus building something for someone else.
And is it something like you want to continue, like freelance work? I mean,
it was nice to get paid to do it, and I really enjoyed the product. And he was a great product manager, so yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah.
I would like to offset it with some personal projects, so do some freelance, then fulfill that personal need to get creative and do your own vision, and then go back to more freelance.
I mean, that's, for me, it's the same thing. It's like I did freelance work because that's how I made money. But man, I've always dreamed of the day where I would never have to do that. Like every project, I'm like, why am I doing this? All I want in my deepest desire is to never do this ever again.
Yeah.
Every project I took.
But then you got bills.
They're definitely, there are definitely a handful of projects that as you're signing off on, you're agreeing to do it. You're like, this is such a bad idea.
Yeah.
I know this is not going to be good.
And it could be the simplest thing, but it's like 20 years into freelance work, you're like, if I ever have to write a single line of code or draw a single pixel for another human being,
sure,
I will that's it. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
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 But you're just at the beginning. So,
so
you've got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
But so talking about what Drew was asking, you also do at least games,
right?
Which is your own thing.
Yes. So I have a 7-year-old daughter now, but when she was really young, around age 1, I started making games for her just to help with eye-hand coordination and shape recognition and that kind of thing. And so during my free time, I was a web developer at the time. I started picking up Objective-C when the first SDK for iOS came out, and then built a little app, and she seemed to enjoy it. And I built it for myself, for my daughter, then got it on the App Store, and nothing really happened with it. And I enjoyed it, so I built another one, and nothing really happened with it, built another thing, and eventually I built 25 apps for,
is that what you're at
my
now?
daughter. I think so.
And you just passed a download milestone.
1 million.
1 million total downloads.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So obviously
6 years.
stuff eventually started happening.
Yeah.
But
yes,
you've had
right,
schools reach out and license some of your.
Sure. So I make educational software. And one of them, one of the most profitable ones, is a game called Math Duel. And it's essentially a split screen calculator. So 2 players on the same device, just solving basic math equations. And schools really picked that up because it offers that competitive, incentive.
So is it like who can calculate the problem the quickest kind of thing?
Right. And I built it in a tug of war style. So there's no fixed number. It's not like the first to 10 or anything. It's like you have to score 5 ahead of the person. So it goes back and forth. If you get a question, you get a little bit more of the score. And if they get a question, then it goes back the other way.
Never ending.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, never ending. So that's been really successful for me. And I made another game called Geography Duel, which is essentially the same thing, just 2 Google Maps kind of back to back. And it tells you a country and you got to find it and tap on it. And that one's doing okay. Not as good as Math Duel, but still educational people really like it because you have a fixed number of devices in a classroom, usually 10, and you have 20 students. So getting 2 kids on one device is.
So
makes sense.
On the Geography Duel, is there a version of Google Maps that is you can download locally to the device, or is it require internet connection?
So I think you use MapKit now that I think about it, because that is just part of it. And that is there's local.
It's on the device.
Local.
Okay, cool.
It was tricky.
We should do it. I want to.
Okay, let's pull it
Geography
on iPad.
Geography Duel. Where is Cambodia?
That was.
I just started. Can you get it wrong?
There's a help button. Yeah, of course you can get it wrong.
Oh, it doesn't
Can you get it wrong?
You can't just
you can only win. You
can't just tap away until it.
Taps
I
America.
mean, you can,
Correct.
but
There is no no. It's just a yes.
yeah. That was a tricky one because I found a data set with the latitude and longitude outlining each country and state. And that's a lot of data. That's a lot of data points. And so I had to run it through some sort of algorithm that took away every middle, every third or second piece, every data point. And I had to run it 3 times. So it really simplified the number of dots that made up a country. And then it worked. So that's cool.
It's like one of those things. Okay, it's not working. I have no idea why it's not working. Okay, it works. All right, sweet. Move on.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if, like you said, they could never get it wrong, but to the point where if they tackle on the wrong country, it's still a green check and green word saying "good try." So it always looks like they're correct.
Never fail.
Yeah. Make them feel good.
Positive reinforcement.
Making me feel good.
You're so smart, Kieran.
Yes.
So, LA Games, obviously, you started off. What kind of languages were you doing? You said you were a web developer at.
Yeah.
24 Hours.
So I was hired on as an associate programmer doing Java development, a lot of backend.
Did you go to school?
Servlet stuff. I did go to school.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I got my
Hawaii.
That's right.
I knew that.
That's right.
That was
Bachelor's
up there.
in computer science from Hawaii Pacific University.
No way.
On Oahu. Yeah.
are you from Hawaii?
I'm from New Hampshire.
Oh, and you're like,
they're-
Hawaii's calling me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, this-
They're right
No.
next door. My geography history
Yeah.
tells me.
I mean,
you
my
can drive there.
My grandmother lives on the island ever since I was a couple weeks old. But the craziest thing about it, I'm glad you enjoy that. Yeah.
did
She's
not.
like, I'm out. I'm going to Hawaii.
Great. That's a great stat to know. Ever since I was a couple weeks old.
Yeah. Oh, now that I think about it.
I remember when she left.
Yeah, it was very sad. The high school that I graduated from, one of the founders of Hawaii Pacific University also graduated from, and so they offer an 80% scholarship to
Wow.
go to Hawaii. So that was pretty
That's better than, like,
incentivized.
So
State.
that high school specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 kids every year were offered the
Oh, 2 kids.
Two
Okay.
kids
Nice.
every year. And
How did you
nobody
qualify?
had taken it for 5 years. It's kind of like
So it's
an
just built
unknown
up.
thing. There's not like big banners like,
Oh, yeah.
80% tuition. And so I caught wind of it. And that year, 2 people had applied. All I had to do was write a 1-page essay about how going to college would change the world. And something about like fix cancer.
Java development.
Yeah. I haven't made it yet. But then I went to Hawaii for college and it was great.
All 4 years.
It was 4.5 years and the scholarship carried on.
Wow.
For that half a year. Because the counselor starting off didn't get me I blame the counselor, didn't get me the right classes to graduate within the 4 years. So I finished the 4 and I'm like, yeah, I'm graduating. They're like, no, you still need this one other class.
You're going to graduate in the middle of the summer with nobody else.
Yeah.
When did you say, was your ceremony like the following year?
It was 2000.
You had to
You
wait
need to like wait around.
half a year not going to school.
Yeah.
Come back 6 months later to graduate.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, got a computer science degree in Hawaii, then moved to Southern California. I met my wife in Hawaii. She has family in Southern California, so we moved back here after college. Put my resume out there, and 24 Hour Fitness offered me an associate programmer's position, kind of entry level. So I picked it up and learned Java with them. I was doing mostly like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on my own over there. I was also bartending. That was like my primary moneymaker in Hawaii. And then got with 24, worked with them. I was with them for 7 years, kind of climbing the ladder, learning more about Java and just enterprise software in general.
So what is it that they build in Java? Their website, their like scheduling?
Their whole backend's in Java. So yeah, their website,
Classes management.
class management.
Schedule management.
Yep.
so
club
Well,
that's
they
in-house,
outsource
huh?
class management.
Oh.
They outsource a lot of stuff now, but mostly it was like the website and payment processing and like trainer management, employee management, all that stuff.
Crazy. And so this is a little bit going back, but did you get married in Hawaii?
No.
When you got married, did you go to Hawaii?
Our honeymoon was in Hawaii. Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. We've been back a couple times since because we got a lot of friends that were still. out
Did
there.
you
And my
island
grandmother.
hop?
she
Did you
lives there.
island hop?
Just to the Big Island. We went to the Big Island once, and it was like crazy good deal, like $30 round
Dang.
trip to the Big Island.
Round
So,
trip?
something like that.
So
yeah.
you've never been to Maui
No,
or Kauai?
no.
We're there for 4.5 years.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, Oahu, I went to the Big Island and it's kind of like, or at least I've been told, how the other islands are. And I liked the population and culture of Oahu. And the Big Island and the other islands are much more secluded. And,
Yeah.
it's
Oahu
rural.
is not the biggest, but it's the biggest.
I've only
Right.
been to Maui.
Yeah.
Only been to Maui. Yeah.
It's nice, huh?
It's quite nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't
should
been
go.
there.
Maui's great for sure. Maui's got like that middle ground. It's got like enough people and enough stuff going on, but at the same time, it's
Real
still
quiet.
it's pretty rural.
It's quiet. Yeah, you can disappear if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can
it's not like
disappear.
Kauai disappear, but it's
It's like Breath of the Wild. There's
Yeah.
the mountain area,
you got the mountain.
There's
You've
the
got
beach area.
you got those trolls down there with hucking the loogies, the Scobie loogies.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. So then you transitioned from Java to Objective-C, which must have been super easy.
Yeah, that was wicked easy. So they had like a Skunkworks or Garage project offered at 24. They said, "Hey, who wants to, make us an app?" Because that was a cool thing back then. So I raised my hand with a couple other guys, and it was.
Did they call it a Skunkworks?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a term.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What you
Especially in a corporate environment. That's what it's called.
I feel like you should just avoid the word because it starts with skunk. And it just sounds like you're
Yeah.
a super
Stinky.
old person trying to sound young.
Is that what the kids are saying these days? Skunks? Nope.
So they got us all the hardware because it's a PC shop, and so they got us MacBooks and access to the developer site, and asked us to build a real-time reporting, like how many people were in a gym, how many sales did they have that day for each of the 400 and something gyms. So we in our free time, it wasn't during work hours, free time. We built this reporting app, and it worked, and it was
not going to pay you.
That's why they call it
We're not
Skunkworks.
gonna
Yeah.
pay you.
Right.
Do this on your free time.
I mean, it's as salary, right? There's not really free time, is there? It's like
I guess that's
you're
how you
always
think
on the
about it.
clock with salary.
That's not how I think about it.
Yeah, not anymore, right? So I kind of started picking it up, going through tutorials, and back then, like iOS 3 or whatever it was,
Wild
there
Wild
was
West.
nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. No
Documentation was rough.
very poor documentation. So we,
Still rough.
It's a lot better.
Apple's horrible.
It
Yeah.
used to be
yeah,
insane.
Yeah.
And there's you can't go on a Stack Overflow and just ask a question. Like you have to just figure
it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
trial and error.
But I got to say, that sounds like a fantastic way to learn like
Anything.
any like framework, platform, anything, because you got real data to work with. You got like a deadline.
objective,
You got
yeah.
like people like looking over your shoulder. You got like a team around you. Let's figure this thing out.
Yeah, and we did.
It sounds like a fantastic way to
We
learn.
made a pretty sweet app. It was internal, and it only lasted a little while before they just didn't use it anymore for unknown reasons. But we got to continue using the hardware, and with that and the knowledge I'd gained, I started Ellie's Games.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Total coincidence, small world. We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
I was working in Boulder at the time at an app shop, and I was the one who built the 24-hour fitness membership app as you were over here working at 24-hour fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You built a 24-hour fitness membership app? Like
Yeah, we had their at the agency I think we were working with.
Silver Fox. I
Yeah,
think?
that sounds right. Came to us somehow and asked us to build the 24-hour
So they weren't-
membership app.
Right.
They were one of those agencies that just is two dudes in a room. Just call for
They were the
it.
in between. Yeah, they were the in between.
Call
So we
Karen,
were
we
literally
need
like,
that.
I was using like data feeds that you were sitting on and managing and building the app for it out in Boulder.
And look at us
which
now.
is insane.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And now we're sitting
Coincidental.
Right here.
On my
Yeah,
first
small
podcast.
world.
And you left 3 years ago or something?
It's coming up on 2 years in October.
2 years.
2 years out. And so, I had just been doing Objective-C development kind of in my free time, still doing a lot of Java. In the last 2 or 3 years at 24, I moved over to the marketing team and started a lot of the front-end development, introduced Backbone and a lot of like front-end frameworks to speed their website up. We did a complete redesign of their website, which I was part of. And then I was offered a position at Planning Center, where I work now, as an iOS developer, and I took it. So
Yeah. And now you're
Enjoying life.
And you've been on Objective-C until,
recently, like a couple of weeks ago.
dang, Mike.
Swift
Isn't
three.
that
What do you
crazy?
do now?
Isn't that crazy?
I've been telling you to do Swift for
Yeah, since Swift 1.
What are
Since I met
What are
you.
you thinking
0.9.
now that you're like coming into Swift? Are you like, oh, why didn't I do this earlier? It looks kind of easy, or
Sure. I mean, there's
or
some
is it like
mental
oh, all my
gaps.
stuff was already in Objective-C have been horrible to like.
That's pretty much where it is. Like a lot of legacy code in Objective-C, it would have been more work to rewrite
Yeah.
it than when it was worth at the time. And so when I first got into Planning Center, we did a huge rewrite of their flagship app called Services, and that took us 14 months to rewrite and
in Objective-C still.
in Objective-C. Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
what was it
There's-
in before?
No, in Objective-C.
Also-
We
Oh,
You just rewrote it.
Yeah, in Objective-C. Yeah.
even though Swift was out.
Even though Swift was out, we had a new API to leverage, so that was a majority of the rewrite. So yeah, we spent a long time rewriting it. And now we're
Are you guys
moving
going
on
to rewrite it again?
in Swift. Not at this time, but we are moving over to another app called Music Stand, and we are rewriting that in Swift.
Okay. And not React Native, because I know you guys are a React shop.
Yep. A lot of front end devs do the Reacts. But we've started looking, we have 2 production apps that are React Native, our People app and our Headcounts app. And those are like greenfield apps where the whole thing is React Native. And so the idea is we want to introduce React Native to some of our existing apps, which you can do, but there's a lot of like boilerplate that needs to go in place to make the communication smooth. So we took a week, maybe a week or 2 ago, to practice and implement a settings screen from Music Stand in React Native. And we succeeded, but it wasn't a good candidate, and we ended up doing it in native anyway, because there was we had like this one screen in React Native. So you click a button, shows the settings screen, and then you were to click something else and it would go into a native screen. So it was like this handoff from native to React to native, and it just wasn't logical. We were adding a lot more complexity than it was worth at the time. So like 3 months down the road, if we had to come back, we'd be like, what's happening? Why
did we do
why
this?
is this? Yeah. But
Gotcha.
we are looking at other areas where you can enter React Native and then stay in React Native for the whole process, like editing API or
Gotcha.
updating stuff.
I'm curious here, because there's been like a bajillion different frameworks that allow you to use web languages or web frameworks to build on, a native platform like iOS or Android. And React Native is called React Native. Is it actually native? And when it actually compiles, is it using the best APIs and like the best performance? I mean, I would assume
That's what they tell you.
That's what
Probably,
they're trying to do. But
Yeah. I mean, it gets bundled into a JavaScript bundle that gets rendered in this JavaScript renderer, but it's rendering native components. So I don't really know how that part works.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
just
Like,
know-
how could that happen? Because it's either taking JavaScript and compiling it literally to Swift or Objective-C or something, one of those two,
Yes.
or it's just all in a web view that's super
not that.
performant.
I don't think it is.
It's a JavaScript engine that are rendering the components, but I don't know
So
if they're
that
rendering
means
it. I
that
think they're
someone
rendering-
took the time to write a JavaScript wrapper for Swift. Is that what you're telling me?
I guess so.
I don't know.
That seems crazy.
I guess so.
That seems crazy, just so you don't have to learn Swift. And Swift's like,
Well, it's more
not
the
just
cross,
so.
it's
Yeah,
the cross-platform.
You get the
benefit.
cross.
yeah, that's
platform.
true. That's true. Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. Like, write it once and it's available. But the styles, I mean, you get some basic things like switches look the same, but you don't get any of the navigation, like navigation controller, or I think they're called fragments in Android world. So there's a lot of stuff that you still have to build from
And
scratch.
like when you're doing things that like require system access on the iPhone, like say you're going to pull up, onto the super high level, like the camera app or something like that. How is it?
There's native modules that support that. So you can say like, if when I push this button in React, open the camera. And so there's already hooks that are set up to do that for you. And if there's things that are missing, like if there's some other thing you want to access, you can write the modules to access them. But
Is it
So you can dip into Swift, pure Swift, if you
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah.
okay? Okay, so there is that option. I was
So
going to say because it seems
it
like
has to- so it is rendering
If someone hasn't fully covered Swift, like written all the JavaScript hooks to go into every part of Swift, it seems like you would run into limitations if you're doing a complex app.
Yeah. Good thing it's Facebook.
Like if you're doing like,
They've got time and resource.
for instance, if you're doing like photo filters where you have to like write your own GL code and your own shaders and stuff, seems like.
Sure, that would not be a good React Native.
Yeah.
Unless you were tapping into.
So I guess it's just like
modules.
social app kind
Well-
of things where it's just interface driven.
I think there are exceptions where it probably doesn't. This sort of thing wouldn't make sense
Right.
to do in a React,
Right.
native
Which we found.
environment.
Which we found with the settings screen. Right?
I don't know if it's just do social apps here. I think it's just more.
It seems like such a basic thing though, setting screen. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't a good fit for React Native.
Well, because you can go into specific settings, like where you can add a pedal or some like external Bluetooth device to communicate with it, and that we felt was going to be. We already had it existing in native on both Android and iOS.
okay, so it wasn't a limitation of React Native. It was
No.
just the fact that
right. We could have done it. We could have kept pedaling forward, but we felt, man,
Gotcha.
this wasn't a good fit.
Gotcha. Sweet. So now that you're in Swift
Yeah.
and you've taken it on,
Yeah.
have you built a whole app in it? Or started on?
Yeah. We have an internal app called Door Center that we can open our doors with our phone.
So if you were to make the next Ellie's Games game,
Yeah.
would you do it in Swift?
You already are, aren't you?
I did start taking on the tasks because kind of it's time to update my apps. I'm getting notified by Apple.
Yeah.
Hey, it's time to update.
I get
that.
those all the time. And I ignore every single
So I thought, aha, I'm going to rewrite all my games in Ellie's games. And I was talking to Kieran about this a little while ago, and he's like, I mean, you don't have to. You can just, recompile it with 64-bit
Right.
support. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a real good idea.
that's true.
So now I'm not going to rewrite.
I didn't mean
them.
to talk you down.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah. But no, I am writing a Mac OS, my first Mac OS app, and that's going to be in Swift.
That's going to be a lot more painful than iOS.
Yeah,
Because
as I've come to find out,
even to this day, there is virtually no documentation. You go on Stack Overflow, everything is from like 2005.
it's weird.
yeah.
So crazy.
It's weird.
It's so crazy.
I didn't realize how spoiled I was with like the iOS.
Oh, dude, it's totally
libraries
different
and
worlds.
whatnot.
Totally
Yeah.
different worlds. Yeah, there's like,
I wonder why.
They had 20 years of like building Mac apps, right? And then they're like, oh, let's introduce this iOS thing, but let's do it the way we should be doing it. And then they just haven't.
And just the ecosystem is so different that like
Well,
the developers haven't caught up and like made
it's also
the
too,
community stronger.
to
Like,
make a Mac app is so much more difficult than to make an iOS app because Apple doesn't have. I'm totally blanking on the name, but the iOS kit, it comes with all the basic UI and all the basic everything. They have something like bare bonesy version of that for Mac, right? So it's like out the gate, it's way harder to do a Mac app than it is iOS. And the main reason also besides that is the fact that there is way less third-party support, way less open source for Mac than there is for iOS. I mean, there's just infinite number of iOS because I think the fact that iOS economically is a much better platform to build on because there's so many more people on iOS than there are Mac. I mean, it's not even a comparison.
well, yeah. When was the last time you intentionally opened the Mac App Store?
Yeah, like never.
No, yeah.
I had to update recently, but that's.
Aside from an update.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's like you don't go in there perusing. I mean, I don't even go in the iOS App Store perusing for apps, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's much less often. You can even just tell by the way that it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't give any attention to it. So maybe the community doesn't either.
I think, yeah, that's what I think it is. I think it's like there's less people building for Mac. And so Apple's just focused on iOS because that's where all the money is. And they're not going to focus on Mac because their market share isn't increasing by any leaps and bounds. They have no plans to make it increase. They're just going to go after like, more pro or rich people users. So they don't make like Macs. They don't make computers for the masses. You know what I mean? That would be a PC or an iPad.
Sure.
The masses don't want laptops and desktops.
Maybe.
There has been a big shift from like PC to MacBooks, hasn't there? Like in the last 5-10 years? No?
I don't think so.
Oh,
If anything, it's got to be
Never
going
mind.
the other way, right? I feel like
with the Surface?
the Surface line that Microsoft seems to be
And
betting
that
a lot
new
on.
brand Lenovo, or
Lenovo is
Is that
not a new brand.
Yeah, that's,
it's not new.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
That
well,
was like enterprise.
they must have like
Everybody had a Lenovo
rebranded or
laptop.
something because I started seeing them all over the place recently. Never mind.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, there's other like entrance into the PC market recently too, especially like the Chrome stuff and
But the user interface and like
Yeah.
all the bugs and spam and whatnot, that's still going to keep me away from
You
Windows.
mean the PC
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
environment? Yeah.
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 Like
I'm
if
not-
my
I'm not
grandmother's
gonna
like,
switch
what
anytime
lap
soon, but-
or what computer should I get? I will tell them a Mac just because of the less. It's so much easier to use, And
if I could
Bug-free.
if I could run OS 10 on that Surface Pro, is that what it's called?
The giant one that
Yeah,
tilts.
the thing I would instantly buy that thing instead of a Mac.
That thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
But you don't want to run Windows.
yeah. I don't want to run Windows, and I mean, the interface looks way cooler than it used to.
sure.
And especially with their newest stuff they just announced like a month ago.
The design guide, what's it called?
Yeah. Something.
Fathom? Fluent
Fluent.
design.
Well done.
Yeah.
It looks super cool, but it's running like by default. It's running like, their new version of Internet Explorer. I can't remember what it's called. I mean, you can always
Edge.
download Chrome and everything, but it just seems so like,
Edge Explorer.
yeah,
or
it just
whatever.
seems so like backwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It's like
Why bother?
super spammy.
Right.
But the hardware
And it won't work
looks
with
awesome.
any of my, yeah,
Sure,
it won't work
sure.
with any of my
Like
phones
the
or
puck
anything like that.
or whatever they
Yeah,
call it, the
that looks
dial.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so much like that's what Apple needs to be doing.
It
It's
seems
stuff like
gimmicky.
that.
It seems gimmicky.
It doesn't seem gimmicky. What seems gimmicky is the touch bar.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
my
a
gosh,
piece of
that's-
crap.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I just got a new
It's not
MacBook
even-
today.
It's,
Did
it's
you?
red.
Hey,
It's
enjoy
red.
that-
No, but it looks
enjoy
like
that
poos.
touch
Doesn't look
bar.
like poos. It looks like poos. Tell me it looks like poos.
What is he saying? Poos?
Poos like poops.
I will say yes because he's looking directly into my eyes. Yes, it looks like poos.
You are
You
all.
don't even know the word poos? Are you from this planet?
Just wanted to make sure I understood you were saying.
Are you saying
poos.
You have a kid.
Are you saying booze?
Yeah.
No. Not only does it not look good, which you have made a point of saying, I still just the form factor itself just doesn't make any sense. Even if you're going to put the color bar, like Photoshop comes out and has, we'll take up 3/4 of it with this color picker. Like you fundamentally need to look down and stop what
Yeah.
you're doing and have no haptic feedback and have to pick from there while you're going like this. Like who's going to do that?
And
Nobody's gonna
The
do that.
worst part about it is all the Apple fanboys are like defending it to the death. I'm like, oh my gosh,
I haven't
get
heard
over
that.
yours. I have. I'm like,
Right.
get over it. Like they are not innovating anymore. Stop acting like they are. And everyone's like, oh, who would want that Surface Pro? Is it the Surface Pro?
I can't remember what it's called. Service table or
The Studio Pro thing, the Microsoft
The big one
screen
that tilts.
Yeah, tilts.
It has the puck
They're
and
like,
the
oh, that
pencil."
would be terrible for wrist. What's it called?
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel, yeah.
Ergonomics. That'd be horrible for ergonomics. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't want to touch the screen for ergonomics. That's like Steve Jobs said and everything. I'm like, it freaking tilts. Gosh dang it. You can put it the exact thing you want it at. You can stand up and like be over it. That's what you do with a pencil. Like, it's so dumb.
I don't see it
Just
as
because it's PC, they're like up in arms about it. I'm like, oh, those guys.
the Apple apologists. The apologists.
Yeah.
Are
Too much
it's a bit
Kool-Aid.
it's a bit insufferable because I don't think, and I don't have it. So maybe now that you have it, tell me when the first time is that you use it without just like testing.
Okay.
And if it ever
will.
if it ever happens.
All right.
Because I would venture to guess that it doesn't.
Okay.
Like most people, like to the point that I was seeing people are like key remapping the tilde to the escape key because they're
Sure.
so pissed off at not being able to reliably hit it.
Yeah.
The fake button,
Sure.
the digital escape button.
Yep.
But I don't see like the puck, or the dial, I think they call it on the Surface. I don't see that as gimmicky at all. I see that as being like an actual really cool thing that gives you haptic feedback, doesn't distract you from where you're currently working.
I see that as a device that should only be in a room where there are going to be no children. Because you can imagine your kid dragging it across the screen. Just
Or just picking it up and chucking it.
Yeah, but my gosh, dude, if Apple would just take us pros seriously,
That'd be
It'd
nice.
be
They keep
awesome.
saying
That'd be
they keep saying they are, or they will. They're about to.
supposedly
they say,
the new iMac is going to be all new design.
and the new Mac Pro is going to be completely modular and
Oh, really?
brand new, and let you actually swap in and swap out.
I don't know if I would ever get a Mac Pro
I have a Mac Pro.
because when I switched from the towers to the iMac, I was like, this deal is incredible because the screen is amazing. It's so cheap in general. It's like barely more than the screen, and you get a whole computer that's awesome. And I've never really needed any more speed than what I had, unless I'm doing video editing. But I guess I just learned to live with it on the iMac. And it really wasn't a problem until 4K was introduced.
Right.
Like this machine is a MacBook Pro, and it will die 1,000 deaths if you try to open up a 4K file, a video file on it.
Right.
And I'm like, how is that a Pro, Apple? I don't quite get it. Yeah, they're super
How old is it though?
This one is the most recent model besides the Touch Bar one.
Oh,
It's just one
make any sense?
one below it. Yeah, so 4K was definitely out.
I mean, it's still a laptop.
It's still a laptop.
I don't think there are super high expectations of like dual screen,
Have you
4K editing.
Have you seen their website where they advertise like video editing on your laptop all over the place? They just don't. They should put an asterisk there. This is a 1080p file because they're lying. They are lying.
480i.
Yeah, they're lying. Cool. All right, man. Thank you for being on the show.
No problem.
Hey,
Thanks for having me.
coming.
That's all the time we got, and we will see you all next time.
Adios.
Later.